Today's class is going to be focusing on our hamstrings. So this is a muscle that I forget about a lot because I can't physically see it often. But it's the backs of our legs, which get super tight when we sit at a desk and work all day, or when we are biking, which you may have gotten a COVID Peloton purchase. I know I did. And the backs of our legs are connected to our hips, to our spine, and so if they're lengthened and stretched and strengthened, the rest of us feels a bit more upright and straight. So today's class is modified, which means I have a lot of props. You can modify for a variety of reasons. Whenever I modify a class or I use a bunch of props, I may not be feeling great that day, I may have an injury, or I might just want to be taking it a bit slower than I normally do. All of that's totally fine. Take the class at your own pace and feel free to do modifications that work for you, even if I don't cue it. Today I have a chair within reach, 2 blocks, a strap, and then a lacrosse ball that I'm hiding so my dog doesn't eat it. We will start today's class on our backs. So please come laying down. And a lot of what we're doing today is just being intentional about our hamstrings. So lay down, tuck your shoulders under, let your feet flop open, and just even see if you think about the backs of your legs within this pose. I don't normally think about them, so try to feel them. They're probably not grounded, they're probably just a ½ inch or so off the mat. And feel them relax. Take an inhale. Fill your belly with breath. And exhale. Feel your body sink into the mat. Inhale. Ribs and stomach expand. Exhale. Keep breathing. These classes outside while there's some construction and the plane already, some noise from the wind in the trees. Try to just focus on the practice itself. And when you're ready, you can pull one or both legs into your chest. I like to do one, so I have my right knee up, actually towards my right armpit, and then gently bring that leg over to the side. Extend your right arm. A very gentle stretch. We're just warming up. So for me, just my foot hits the ground. My knee is pretty far off the ground. My shoulder, though, is grounded on the other side. Take a breath in here. You can look over your right shoulder if that feels nice. Inhale. Even in this twisted position, feel your belly expand with air. Exhale, rinse as you twist just a little bit more. Don't push anything yet. On your next inhale, bring your knee back into your chest. Give it a squeeze. And then extend it out. And pull your left knee in towards your left armpit. Give it a squeeze. And bring that knee over to the right side. Again, maybe your foot touches, maybe it hovers, knee touching. Left arm extends, ground that left shoulder. Don't overdo it. You're probably cold, so you don't want to push anything yet. Inhale. Exhale. We're just slowly warming up our spine. Inhale, bring your knee back to center. Exhale, extend both legs. You can actually bend your left knee now, put your left foot on the floor. And we're going to do a figure 4 stretch here. So take your right foot up and over your left knee. This might be sufficient. Your right knee should be pushing away from you, and you should feel that in your right hip. If you want more of a stretch, you can lift your left leg off the ground, reach in between your legs, and grab the back of your left leg, grab your hamstring. You can pull that closer towards you. Use your right elbow to push away your right knee. And if you want more of a stretch, you can even grab the outside of your left shin and use that elbow to push your right knee away, starting to look at the outside of our legs. Keep breathing here. Inhale, belly expands. Exhale. Release your left leg, and then you could bring your right leg down to meet your left, so both knees are bent. Adjust if you need to. I got a little off center there. And pick up your left leg, bring your foot heel to the outside of your right knee. And again, this might be enough. That's totally great. If you want more, reach in between your legs, grab your right hamstring. Your left elbow can push out your left knee. Keep breathing. Now you can reach a little bit further for a more intense stretch. Remember, your body's still cold here, so it's okay if you're a little tight. We'll fix that. Keep breathing. And on your next exhale, release both feet. Now you can come to one side in the fetal position and push yourself up so you're coming into a seated position. Great. So we'll start with on all fours. So you can come into a cat-cow. Knees are under your hips, wrists are under your shoulders. My dog is behind the camera making some noise, so you can still hear me. So inhale, arch your spine, lift your chest, look up. Exhale, round. Inhale, arch. Exhale, round. Now I really like to do this just at my own pace, to my own breath. So if I'm doing a more vigorous class, I might inhale and exhale quickly. So really warm up my spine. That's not necessarily the class we're doing today, but if that's what you want to do, you do. That's totally great. And if you have, like, I have a little low back tenderness today, so maybe I'm not going to go quite as arched. Just be a little conscious of where my body is today. Turn to a neutral spine and bring your back foot behind you. Mine actually just went off my mat. Position it right on my mat. There you go. Bring your right foot behind you, tuck your toes. And you can even just give yourself a calf stretch here. It feels kind of nice. And take your left fingertips forward so that they're just touching the ground. This might be enough for you. Your core is engaged, so your core is keeping everything level and straight, parallel to the earth. If you want a little bit more, you can inhale, raise your left arm and your right leg. You can stay here. Now again, we're working on hamstrings today, so think about your hamstring in this position. Feel it lifting your leg up. And in fact, as you feel that, do some leg lifts. Feel your hamstring really powering as it lifts your leg for you, but also strengthens. So your right heel is reaching away from your body. It's a long and strong leg as you do these lifts. Keep breathing. Core strong, keep your hips square to the mat. And then extend both your arm and leg, stretch, and work your way into the mat. We'll do the same thing on the left side. So bring your left toes behind you. Again, maybe you get a little bit of a calf stretch. Backs of my legs are tight today, so this feels really good. I could stay here for a minute, but I won't. Take your right hand in front of you, tent the fingers. Again, perhaps you stay here, and that's very good. Perhaps you lift both arm and leg, core strong, hips square to the mat. Don't twist one way or the other in here. You want to keep your body parallel to the earth. And then as you extend both limbs, think about pushing out of your heel, and perhaps you do those leg lifts again. With your left leg, think about the backs of your hamstrings engaging. This is really strengthening, but we're also lengthening. We're extending our leg as far behind us as we can. Keep lifting Keep breathing. Breathe through this whole thing. And then extend and return to center. Nice. And so what we'll do here is tuck your toes behind you. So you're in all fours, but with your toes tucked. And we'll come back onto them. This could be super intense. For me, it's really intense. I hate this, but it's good for you. So the backs of your feet, the bottoms of your feet, which is something we'll play with a little bit today. That's what the lacrosse ball is for. It's where all our nerve endings are, and so you can actually increase your flexibility by strengthening or stretching the bottoms of your feet. So do that for as long as you're comfortable. I've reached my limit, so I'm just going to come up and stand. Nice. So we'll come to the front of our mats. Again, this is a modified class, so it's going to be slightly, I'll call this the front of my mat. It's going to be a little bit gentler than a typical yoga flow. You do what you need. This is your practice. No one literally can see you, which is great. So we will take an inhale, raise your arms overhead. Exhale, fold. And in this fold, you might want to even extend your feet so they're hips width distance. Always feel free to bend your knees in your fold. You can bend them a ton so your chest is on your thighs. If you're a bit more flexible, perhaps you can straighten your legs, but it's more important that your chest is on your thighs. Inhale, take a half lift. Hands can come to shins, lengthen your spine. Exhale, plant your hands, and then step one foot back, the other foot back, and push back to downward facing dog. So we'll breathe here for a few minutes in down dog, and have you already forgotten about your hamstrings? It's easy to forget about them, but think about them here. I never think about my hamstrings in down dog. Push your heels towards the mat, and not just your calves, but feel the backs of your legs lengthen. Feel your hips reach up towards the sky as those hamstrings get a bit of a stretch. You'll feel the stretch in other places too, but that's what we're thinking about is our hamstrings. Beautiful. Then take a step forward, your other foot, again into our forward bend, and then rise, arms overhead. Exhale, Tadasana. So we'll do this again. I'll show you a variation. So inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold. Again, think about your hamstrings here. Stay here for a moment. Feel them lengthening as you stretch forward. Inhale, half lift, hands to shins or the mat as you lengthen your spine. Now you have the option to put both hands down and step back to a downward facing dog again. Or you can use a chair if that's a little too intense for you. Ooh, that's a noise. You can use a chair to put your hands here, step your feet back, and stretch like this. You'll feel it's going to be a lot less intense. You can also step forward. This is basically the same V shape that we do on the floor. There's a lot less weight in your wrists. You're still getting all of the benefits of the back of your legs, stretching out and lengthening. Keep breathing here. And then step both feet back together again. If you were from downward dog, come into a forward fold. And then inhale, rise, arms overhead. Exhale, hands by your sides. Now, before we do another version, I'm gonna get the lacrosse ball out. This is a fun little trick that I just learned. So, I'm not great at it yet. You get more comfortable with the ball the more you use it. But you're gonna put it could also be a tennis ball, by the way. It's just a ball of some firmness to it. So you're gonna put your heel on the ball, and it might be easier. Yeah, if I go like this. So you kind of just step on the ball and roll it from your heel to the ball of your toe. Start with your right foot. It might hurt. It's the same as when we did our toe flex in the warm-up. The bottoms of your feet can be a little tender. Don't hurt yourself, but don't be afraid to lean into that a little bit. Roll the ball around. we're gonna do here, it's like this fun little party trick. If you go to parties, yoga parties, where we're gonna do this on both sides and then see the additional flexibility we get in our forward fold. So that's probably good on this side. You can switch to the other side. And it's from the bottom of your heel all the way up to the front of the ball of your foot. I have a friend who can like do this really, really, really fast because he's been doing it for years. I have not. So I'm still kind of just learning how to use this thing without letting it go flying. That's like giving yourself a little massage, waking up all those nerve endings. It's nice to do this at the beginning of class. And you can release the ball and hide it from my dog. And then we'll do another one of those sequences, and let's just see again if there's a difference. So I can feel my nerve endings tingling. I hope you can too. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, fold. Now see if I can go so much further. I can feel that I can go further just by loosening up the bottoms of my feet. Again, it's a really fun yoga party trick. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step back. Downward facing dog. And feel how this feels different. Do your hamstrings do something different here that they haven't done yet? Are they getting a little bit warmer? Are they lengthening more? Inhale. Exhale. As you exhale, can you sink a bit further? Make sure your finger pads are still pushing into the mat. Even though this is a hamstring class, we still have other parts of our body that we want to take care of. And then inhale, left foot forward, right foot forward, fold. Inhale, rise. And as you rise there, and exhale, Tadasana. Do you feel your hamstrings helping you do that? They're strengthening and supporting you as you go through these movements. So continue to think about that. We're gonna move to, we're gonna do a series where we do some lunges. And again, you have the option to use a chair here or not. So I'll cue it for the first time without a chair. I'll cue it for the first time with a chair, and then we'll do it without a chair. So we're gonna start with a lunge on our right leg. So the chair is in front of you. The back of the chair should be in front of you so you can hold on to it for support. So left foot grounds into the ground. Bring your right foot back. This is a lunge. You might have to pull the chair a bit closer to you. And just stay here for a moment. Again, think about your hamstrings here. This hamstring, I can really feel. It's doing a ton of work. By the way, if this is like, why am I holding on to this thing? You can raise your arms overhead. That might make balance a bit harder. Put them on your hands on your waist as well. Feel your left hamstring as well. Your left hamstring is stabilizing you. Your right hamstring is balance and strength. Your left hamstring is stabilization. So feel them both here. And then exhale, step forward. Feet together. We'll do the same on the other side, and maybe the chair isn't your jam, and that's okay. Ground your right foot into the ground, and then you can step back and lunge so that your left knee is on the floor. Now you might want to double up your mat for knee support. You might want to get out that blanket that I don't have, but maybe you do. Put that under your knee for support. And we can lunge here. And again, if you're doing this version, it might be harder to feel the back of your left hamstring, but try to engage that muscle. Maybe untuck your toes and push your leg into the mat. You'll feel your right hamstring stabilizing your body. Inhale. Exhale. Take a few breaths here. Your core is strong. You're not arched too much. You're holding yourself in steady. Beautiful. And release your hands. Now if you're on the ground, you can take your knee and just step up and then come to stand. Don't hit your head on that chair if you're using it. Okay, we'll do that again. So ground your left foot, step your right foot back into a lunge. Again, think about your hamstrings. How are they lengthening and strengthening here? Hands can be on the chair. And then keep your left hand on the chair, or if you're kneeling on the ground, put your left hand in front of you, and take your right arm up. Sorry, right hand is on the chair, left arm up, and you twist. Now, if you're doing this because if you're modifying a class because of a pregnancy, this is actually not a safe twist for you, so please don't twist that way. But really open up your chest and then think about your hamstrings. Did you forget about them? Is this right one really working? How did the left one change? Make sure you're staying strong and long. And then exhale, bring that left hand back. Stand. We'll do the same on the other side. Plant your right foot. Step your left foot back. Lunge. Left hand comes in front. Right hand up and over. Twist. When I twist, I like to bring my thumb up in the air so my palm is facing outward. And again, think about your hamstrings. Make sure they're stabilizing you here. If you feel like you're not using that chair too much, you can even play with balance. You lift up that energy. That's too much. That's okay. Back. Beautiful. Both hands forward and come back to stand. We'll do one more version of that. So take your right leg back. And keep your left hand on the chair. And just raise your right arm and twist over to the left side. So now your hamstrings are lengthening and strengthening, but also your entire right body is opening up. I feel the front of my hip open a lot when I do this stretch. See if that changes how your hamstrings are interacting with you. Exhale. And return to center. Both feet together. Last side, we'll take our left foot back, right foot grounds. Right hand stays in the chair, left arm is raised, and then reach up and over. Feel that whole length from the bottom of your foot all the way to the top of your left hand, that long energy. Feel your hamstrings supporting you, your legs strong and steady. And exhale, come to stand. Nicely done. Okay, just making sure you're still with me here. Beautiful. So we'll use the chair in a similar way that we did. And we're going to do another pose called Warrior 2, which if Warrior 2 is in your practice, then you can do it without the chair. If it's not in your practice, you'll plant your right foot in front of you, step your left leg back. Again, you can hold onto the chair with your front hand. Raise your back arm. You can raise your front arm. This is the full expression of the pose. So your back foot is at a 90-degree angle. Your hips are facing the side of your mat. My hips are facing you. And your front knee is bent to about a 90-degree angle, as much as you can. If you're holding onto that chair, make sure this arm doesn't go too high or too low. Try to keep it parallel to the ground. I'm checking myself. Keep myself honest. Hold this here. And again, think about your hamstrings. Think about your front leg stabilizing, your back leg shooting energy into the ground, lengthening your spine up as your legs are supporting you. Keep that core engaged. And then inhale, come back to stand, 2 feet together. And the other side, so plant your left foot, right leg comes behind you, foot is at a 90-degree angle. You can hold on to the front chair with your left arm if you like, raise your right arm, or you can come both arms raised. Again, think about your hamstrings, think about that support. What I like in this class is to think about my bottom half, all the energy is grounding, and my top half is lifting. How tall can you get while you root into the earth? And keep breathing. Beautiful. Both hands forward. Both feet come together. All right, we are going to do another version here where you can use the chair again, but you can also set up 2 blocks. Where do my blocks go? Right here on the side of your mat. So we're going to do Warrior 2, and then we're going to come to a forward wide forward fold. So set up the blocks just outside your mat where you can reach them on the highest height to start. So start with 2 feet standing together here. You'll ground your right foot, step your left foot back. Again, warrior 2. So you've been here before. Every time you come to a pose for a second time in a practice, you can settle in a little bit deeper. Experience the pose in a different way than you did the first time. And then as you exhale, turn your right toes forward and straighten your knee. And start to lean forward. As you lean forward, keep your core engaged. Lean forward, support your low back. Your hands can come to your blocks. They should be about shoulder width apart. They can be as forward or as in as you want. More forward will be a little bit less of a stretch. If you can feel your hamstrings here, stay here. Keep your core engaged. Keep supporting your lower spine. If you can't feel your hamstrings here, walk the blocks in a little bit. You can even lower them to a different height. So this is a big stretch. You're using your blocks, you're bending from the hip, you're strengthening the whole backside of your legs. And then if you're flexible so your hands are on the ground, you can drop your head. And you don't have to not block out your knees here. You want to be super straight, but the goal is to keep them straight enough so that you feel this in your hamstrings. You can feel them lengthening as you bend forward. And as you exhale, maybe go a little bit deeper. And by the way, if you're here, that's great. Wherever you are is where you're supposed to be. Just make sure you're feeling the stretch in your hamstrings as you do this. Keep stretching, and then the next inhale, lengthen your spine and use the blocks to help you bring your feet together. You can pick them up with you and bring them to the other side of your mat. We'll do this on the left side. So take your left foot forward, right foot comes back into a warrior 2, 90-degree angle. Again, we'll hold here, and if you're tired, you can come out of it a little bit, but if you're not, and you're probably not because you're doing yoga and it hasn't been that long, really bend into it. Try to get deeper in this pose. As you exhale, go a little deeper. Think about your hamstrings shooting into the ground, that support from your lower half of your body as your upper body rises. And then on your next exhale, flip your left toes so they're facing the side of your mat. Blocks in front of you. Keep that spine straight. You got to protect your spine by sucking in your core. And then start to fold. Now whatever place you're at is fine. Use the weight of your body to help really drop your chest forward and lengthen the sides of those legs. You can really almost, if you're super flexible, you can even grab your ankles and pull yourself forward. If you're doing that, you can also put a block here to rest your forehead. That feels comfortable. If you think I'm crazy, don't do any of that. Use the 2 blocks under your shoulders and breathe. And then using your blocks to support you, bring both feet together, come to stand, and come to the front of your mat. Beautiful. So we're now going to, if you have 1 chair, you can also do this with 2 chairs. You can also do it with something else to support you. But make sure you have your chair handy for this next bit. So we're going to do a bit more lengthening, and then we'll do some more stretching. Strengthening, lengthening, strengthening. So keep both blocks on either side of your mat. Standing in the middle, bring your right foot forward and step your back foot. Your feet should only be about 3 feet apart. So your back foot's on a 45-degree angle pointed to the side of your mat. Front foot is forward. We're going to do something called pyramid pose. So you might want to use this chair. Pyramid pose might be here for you. What you're trying to do is strengthen both legs, but particularly your right leg, your forward hamstring. this might be doing nothing for you. You can step back and do it a bit further, so you're at more of a 90-degree angle with your torso. Or you can put both hands on your blocks. They can be at the highest height. And yep, you're starting to feel it, right? Feel that back of your leg lengthen and stretch. Keep both hips as you're doing this are square to the front of your mat. If you had high beams on your hips, they'd be pointing straight forward. They're not pointing out to the side. So hips forward. Keep your legs straight here. And just release. Keep your core engaged though. It's supporting your lower back. If you're feeling really flexible, you can drop your blocks and move forward further. It's up to you. Everyone's at a different level. My hamstrings are really tight today, so I'm going to go on the highest height. And fold and breathe. And again, as you exhale, perhaps your muscles release a bit more and you can get further into that stretch. Beautiful. Now use both blocks to support feet coming together. Come to stand. If you do that stretch deep enough, you'll even feel it under your hip. Now plant your left foot. Right foot comes back about 3 feet, 45-degree angle. Hips are square to the front of your mat. Again, you can start with that chair, lean forward and support yourself here. Or if you're feeling a bit more flexible today, you can put both hands on your blocks. Make sure when you do this, you don't hunch up. We're lengthening our legs, but we don't want to hunch our shoulders back and down your back. And then lean forward and breathe. The back of your hamstring might be screaming at you. If that's the case, maybe you back off just a little bit. If it's not, maybe you lean into it a bit further and keep breathing. Beautiful. Come out. Step both feet together. The instruction voice finally stopped. That's nice. And inhale, come to stand. Move your blocks out of the way a little bit here. Come to the top of your mat. This one, either use a chair or you can hold on to a railing, something that's a bit sturdier. We're going to do chair pose using the chair as a prop. Feet grounded. What you're going to do is, full expression of this pose is with your arms up in the air as you slowly lower your hips and bend your knees. Now you're keeping your knees, you can't see. Keep your knees so that they're not over your toes. Your knees are in line with your toes. You're not coming forward like that. That could even hurt your knees that way. If you're using the chair in front of you, the chair will help provide balance. You come as far as you're comfortable. The goal here is to think about your hamstrings. Whenever I do this, I think about my quads. Sometimes I sit on my quads. I think about my shins. It's all front-based. What is the back of your body doing? Use this chair to support you, to balance you. Again, the chair might lift, so you can also use a railing if that's more comfortable. Breathe here. Feel your hamstrings, your glutes really light up. You lengthen them, and now you're strengthening them. We're struggling with that today. Your legs might start to shake. It's good, it means it's working. And then exhale, come to stand. Nice. We'll now do a little bit more stretch and then we'll cool down. So again, you can use actually 2 chairs here if you like. So I'll show you that version of it. Andy said you needed 1 chair, but if you have 2 chairs, if you have 1 chair, you probably need 2. You can put them next to each other. So we're going to be doing some stretching here, and it's the same actually if you're doing it on the chair or you're doing it on the floor. You can come to sit on the mat or on a chair. And what we're going to do is called Janu Shirsasana, which is stretching basically one leg at a time. So put your foot, if you're using a chair, up on the chair across from you. This might light up the back of your leg. You might be okay here. Flex your toes so that they're facing up. Keep the top of your leg engaged. And you'll inhale and exhale, lean forward. You can use the chair if it has arms. as a way to support you. You want your back nice and long. You don't want to curve over your leg. So that's a way to do this with 2 chairs. You can also come up here if that's too intense. The chairs just give you a couple more options. Stay folded forward. And I'll demonstrate without the chairs for the other side. Beautiful, keep breathing. And then release. Let both feet either come out in front of you or to the floor in front of you if you're using the chairs. Now, if you're still on the floor, you can bring your left leg in. Right leg is extended this time, or the opposite leg if you, I realize I didn't cue aside. And then inhale, keep that right toe flexed. Exhale, fold. And again, you're not trying to, don't bend your knee here. Keep your leg extended. You can grab below your knee, your shin, your ankle, whatever is comfortable here. We're feeling that hamstring lengthen after a bit of strengthening today. My dog has a bone again, so sorry about the noise. And breathe here. Feel the back of your legs start to loosen up a little bit. Nice. And then come back to sit. And you're in the way. You can now, if you're on a chair, I would encourage you to come to the floor. You can use a block underneath you if you want. Honey, you're in the way. Come here, baby. You can use a block underneath your bottom if you want to raise you up a little bit. Both legs are going to come wide. We're going to do a wide forward fold. You can also use a blanket. Blanket might be more comfortable. If you need that extra height, it will help you lengthen your spine. So sometimes people have a tendency to arch here. You don't want to do that. You want to be straight from your sits bones up to the top of your head. Make sure your knees are pointing forward. Mine always kind of fold in, your toes fold in. Make sure everything's pointing straight up. Flex your toes. And then reach your right arm down your right leg. This might be enough if you can feel it in your hamstring. If not, reach your left arm up and over. Again, it's that side body stretch. Your left leg here is still working. Keep it engaged. Keep some tension on it. And breathe. Maybe you come a little bit deeper. Again, the goal is to keep that knee straight, not to bend it. And also keep your left side totally engaged, pressed into the mat. Don't come up out of that side. Inhale. And on your next exhale, come back up to center. And we'll do the other side. So left hand down to grab your foot or your ankle or your shin. Maybe this is enough. Maybe you feel your hamstrings here. Keep your right leg engaged, toes pointed up. If you want more, raise up your right hand, and again, feel that stretch all the way alongside the right side of your body. And I told you my lower back was kind of bothering me, so I'm going to come out of it a little bit so I don't push it. You do the same. You modify for you. Nice. And then come to sit. Hopefully your hamstrings, hopefully you can feel them. They're a little bit, they might be a little tired. They might be a little jumpy on you. That's okay. Pull your feet together. If you have a strap or a blanket or even like a belt nearby, please grab that. And we're going to come to lie on our backs. Create a little bit of a, if you want to feel fancy, you can create a little, just like a little circle to grab your foot. If you can also just use your strap the way it is and tuck it over the bottom of your foot. We'll come to lie down with our left leg planted into the earth, our right knee bent. And if you have that fancy little circle, you can put your foot around it. If not, you can put the strap here. And try to get your foot, keep your hips even with the ground, so don't go from side to side. You extend the strap around the ball of your foot and strengthen that leg all the way up. Now this might be a ton on your hamstring, and that's okay. If it's not, you can pull it closer to you, and then you can even hold the strap in your right hand, and just like we did in the warm-up, keeping your left hip grounded, you can open up the the side of your leg. We did some of these, we did, back stretches, twists at the beginning of class just to warm up. Now we're doing this to cool down. Keep your left hip engaged with the mat. Keep it flat. Don't let it rise up. Keep extending out of the ball of your right foot. Keep your right knee engaged. And breathe. And feel your hamstring here. It might feel a little bit looser than it did at the beginning of class. It might not. You might have really tight hamstrings. And release. Bring that back up. That right leg back up to center. And bend your knee and release the strap. Nice. And then just for a moment, again, yoga party trick. Feel how your right leg feels in comparison to your left. Does it feel an inch longer? Does it feel 2 inches longer? Does it not feel any different at all? Bend your left knee. Raise your foot into to the sky. Strap goes around the ball of your foot. And then again, you might be great here, and this might be it. If not, keep your right hip grounded and extend your left leg out to the side. And I'm doing this from home too, so there's obstacles here. I can't go all the way over. I'll just have to support my leg a little bit more. That's okay. Yoga at home is like mini golf. You have obstacles everywhere. Keep your right hip engaged with the mat. You can open up that arm if you like. On the other side. Keep extending from the left ball of your foot. Keep your right leg engaged. Don't let it get lazy. And release. Come back to center. Bend your knee. Release your strap. We have one more final yoga pose to do. So bend both feet again. We're going to end class the way we started. And just see if your lower half feels a bit more flexible. So keep your left knee bent. Right foot comes over into a figure 4 stretch. Maybe you stay here. Maybe you reach in between your legs. And just feel if you get a little bit more distance. And now that you're doing it, now that you're a bit warmer, use your elbow to push your knee away from you. If you feel a little bit longer in your spine, and release. Right foot comes to the ground, left knee up and over, left leg up and over. And then again, maybe you're fine here. Maybe you reach between your feet and you pull towards you in a figure 4. Maybe you even extend beyond and grab the outside of your shin. Keep your shoulder blades down your back. I'm terrible at this. I always hunch when I'm focusing on the bottom half of my body. My top half crunches over. And breathe here. Start to feel the effects of the practice. And release. You can give both knees a squeeze here. You can come up and just give yourself a little hug. And then extend both feet wide. Arms by your side. Palms up if you're feeling a bit receptive. Come to Shavasana. And see if I can feel my hamstrings. Just observe your body. Don't judge it for how it did today. Just appreciate those silent muscles that support you every day. You did a little work for them, so you still might not be able to hear them, or maybe they're quieter now that they've had some attention paid to them. And feel your body sink into the earth. Let your breath flow naturally. And hopefully you stay here for a few minutes, but if you're like me and you gotta get to the next thing, bend your knees. Come to one side in a supported pose. And when you're ready, you can come up to sit. Thank you very much. I hope your hamstrings feel a bit better. Or maybe if you didn't feel them before, maybe you feel them now and you're cursing me. But yeah, hope they feel lengthened and strengthened, and we'll see you next time.